Right, welcome. I was going to get the slides up. No, well, so welcome to, like as I said at the start, this is kind of week 2, but feels a little bit like it's almost still week 1 because we started late in the week. But whatever it is, week 2, and we've had a really great start. And we start at the end of the week, and I'm really impressed with people's engagement and commitment and showing up for yourself, because that's all you can ever do. Show up for yourself. And you know those things when like you're on a diet and you think, oh, I've had 3 chocolate bars, it's Wednesday, I'll just start Monday. That's what we all do. It's so tempting to just like park it. If you ever, there'll be times with all of these habits, they're new, we're not perfect and things show up, life gets in the way. If you don't have a great morning or a great start, just choose your attitude and do better tomorrow. It's never about feeling bad. Just keep going, because the momentum builds. And as I said, these things layer. So the first thing I want to get into today with you is, well, a question really. If I asked you to think of something that you're really proud of in your life right now, what would that be? Now you can think this or you can chat. I'm not going to read the answers out, but if what are you proud of? What are you proud of in your life right now? It might be something in your family. It might be one of your wins. It might be something in your history, something you've managed to achieve, a business you've created. If you really had to focus and be proud, not everybody likes to say I'm proud of something, what would it be? What could you be proud of? If I asked you to be proud of something, what could you be proud of in your life right now? I'm just observing the chat. I'm not gonna keep reading them out. Nice one, David. So what I've done there, just to demonstrate, how did that make you feel? In that moment, we all together, we shifted our focus to something we're proud of. So you probably agree that it made you feel good, even if it was for like 10 seconds, it made you feel good, right? And this is the point I want to make, right? At all times in our life, we're making in every moment of your life, every single moment of your day, you're making 3 decisions. And these 3 decisions impact the quality of your life and your results. The first decision is what you focus on. The second one is what things mean. And the third one is what you do. Think about it. Every moment of every day, you're making that decision. Might be like a nanosecond decision. It might not be very conscious, but you're making that decision. And if you imagine you've just had a bad day, right? You've had like a confrontation with a colleague, and then somebody cut you up in the car, you sat in traffic, and you go home focusing on the confrontation, not feeling very good. You walk through the door, the person you live with is sat on the couch with a cup of tea and there's dishes piled up in the sink. In that state, you're probably focusing on the negative day. The meaning you're attaching to the person who you live with and the dishes on the sink is they are lazy and they've caused you a problem. And you're probably not proud of whatever action or behavior you're going to show up with. So think about that from a different point of view. So let's say that day, something went really well. You had a massive result. You had good feedback from a boss. You got 3 new clients. You feel energized. The sun's shining and you walk through, dishes in the sink, housemates, partner, husband, wife sat on the couch with a cup of coffee. You probably don't really focus on the dishes, or if you do, you think, oh, I'll do them later. And you probably focus on all the good things that you care about this person in your life. The point I'm making here is, can our state, our emotional state, cause us to look at things differently? So 2 scenarios, right? You come home from work frustrated and angry, or you come home joyful and excited, and you look at it the same thing very, very differently. So we're choosing what we focus on, we're choosing what things mean, and we're choosing what action we take. And what we do, our actions, like what we do or what we don't do, that gives us our results in life, right? So this is why it's so important. If you then accept that if you feel bad, you're in an emotional state that doesn't feel good, your thoughts are going to be impacted, the way you feel is going to be impacted, and what you do is going to be impacted. So it's massively, massively important to control what we call our state, our emotional state. Because if we don't, what we typically do is we leave it to chance, don't we? We like get up, We move through our day. We don't really plan it. We don't set an intention for the most part. Most people, the vast majority of people, with the exception of all of you, don't set goals. So we move through our days, we put the news on, we go to work, and we leave our emotional state to chance. We don't take ownership of it. So then what we focus on is filtered because we're not kind of controlling that. The meaning we attach is just left to chance as well. And that'll usually come from the conditioned ideas in the belief system that we talked about last week. And then the action we change will shift. So think about it. If you are excited about a goal and you're really focused on it and you're energized by it, what's that person like? They jump out of bed, they take action, they move forward, they look for opportunities, versus somebody who is kind of fearful and worried and is putting all of their focus there. You know, when we're doubtful and we're anxious and we're fearful, we tend to, you know, like you're paralyzed. Those are the days when you want to like get the duvet and just do nothing, right? So this boot camp is giving you those rituals, because what you are going to do is train yourself to take control of your emotional state. Because when you do, you take control of every result in your life. You take control. Two things happen. You feel better every day. And the second thing is you move towards your goal, because what you think about and what you feel dictates what you do. And that's your action. So if you can get into the habit, and that's what we're doing with this program, is we're layering and layering and layering these habits to get yourself absolutely peak every single day. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to have events and circumstances that show up, because they do. But every single day, if you can take control as opposed to react, you're going to be in a much more powerful position. If you think about rituals, right? If I said to you, I'm going to get a weight, and for 90 days, I'm going to lift a weight with my right arm only. And I'm going to get an increasingly bigger weight, and I'm going to lift it for 90 days. That's my ritual every day. What's going to happen? This arm's going to be like Popeye, and this arm's going to be exactly the same. It's ritual equals result. It's a predictable thing. It's absolutely predictable. So what you do every day is the same. So if you wake up every day priming your attention and your attitude, you're going to feel better. You're going to think about things in a more positive way. And what I'm going to show you when I'm going to get to some slides that are going to show you how you can take control over the way you feel, and actually how you can choose that. That's what's going to show up in your life as a more positive action. Because, you know, we can't like sit on our meditation chair visualizing our goal. We have to actually take some action as well, right? It's nothing's going to show up if we just sit there and visualize. So let's get into the additional action steps I want you to add to your daily rituals. So we've already got your me morning. So your me morning is you getting up and giving yourself some time. And then we've got meditation, and we've got visualize your goal. So you can see that already those three things are designed to lift your emotional state. Because then when you move into your day, what you're focusing on isn't, I wonder what happens, isn't, I wonder if I'm in a traffic jam. You're focusing on what you deliberately set an intention to focus on at the beginning of the day. So then when you attach the meaning, what something means, if you've got your energy high and your positivity, then when you observe something in that state, as we said with the dishes pad eye, the meaning you attach to things, you're more likely to see the positive, aren't you? If you're in a peak state, you're more likely to move through things. And if there's a scenario and there's equal positive and negative in it, you're more likely to find the positive. Or if there's a problem or a solution to be found, you're more likely to find a solution. So we've got those three things that we're doing every morning. I'm going to add two more. So the next one is gratitude. And you're probably familiar with this. And if you got your gift, you'll have got your gratitude pad in the post. So there's no surprises. If you didn't, send me your address and I'll send you a gratitude pad. It's nothing fancy. It's just like this. So all I'm going to ask you to do as part of your journaling, as part of your thinking, when you're sitting and having that me morning, just think about what it is you're grateful for. Do it right now. Do it right now. If I said to you, what are you really appreciative for in your life? What am I so grateful for? You know, and I have everything in there. My coffee in the morning, the smell of it, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for health, for loved ones. You know, I can go on and on and on. And when you spend time in that physical, you know, you feel it, you really feel appreciation. It's really hard to feel angry and frustrated and annoyed. You can't do both at the same time. So this is another way to get you, what we call, get your vibration raised. And this is my gratitude book over the last year or so. And you can see as you look back, even just holding this book, like, and this isn't repeated. This is like, some of it is the family I've created and all the laughter and love in my life, where I am right now, my emotional and spiritual awareness, that I love nature and seasons, autumn, my oat milk latte. You just go and go and go. And it's kind of like, I can't look at this book without kind of feeling a little bit better. So add that to your day. And you can do one or two things, right? You can sit and just think of one thing. If you want to just sit and be in the moment of being grateful for one thing in your life, or if you just want to do a gratitude rampage and write 10 things out, doesn't matter. Just spend some time in that place for yourself. So the next one is movement. So it's just to incorporate movement. And from all the comments that we had at the start, it looks like a lot of you were already pretty physically active anyway. All of this depends on your starting point. If you're already someone who's up at the gym at 6 a.m. doing whatever you do, then I'm not going to interfere. But if you're not in the habit of getting up and moving, then I'm just going to gently suggest 10 minutes of something, whether it's yoga, a walk around the park, a walk around the garden. And I always suggest a minimum. If your starting point is I already walk for 30 minutes, we'll keep that going, or add some more, or whatever you want to do. But motion creates emotion. When I first got hold of this 20 years ago, I used to walk because I couldn't think of exercising other than walking. I couldn't think of going on a spin bike in the morning. It was a horrendous thought to me. So I thought I'll just walk. And I walked thinking of what I was grateful for. And then I would say it out loud. And then I would walk thinking of my goal. And I felt amazing. This is when everything started to shift for me. So add some movement is the next thing I'll say. And then finally, as I said, we've got a goal, and you've got a goal that you want to achieve that either in the next 6 weeks or longer term. It's really up to you. But we can't just meditate on our goal, right? We meditate on our goal, but we have to take some action. So when I got into this, while I was leading the integration of 2 global companies, my life was crazy. 2 kids under 5, really crazy job with massive deadlines, probably 10 hours a day. But I had a goal of moving towards something to do with nutrition. I love nutrition and I'm really passionate about it. So I thought, what one thing can I do? And the first action step I took was to research courses on nutrition. The second thing I did was to enroll on one. Before I knew it, I'm studying a nutrition course at 6 a.m, and before I'm starting my day. But the point I'm making is, the thing I want you to do is, in addition to your normal routine now, is just write down at the end of every day, write down 3 action steps you're going to take towards your goal. Now, they can be tiny. It can be make a phone call. It can be do some research. The point is, if you've got a goal, but you can't fit it in, or even if you've got a goal that you can fit in, deciding every day just to do 3 things. I know it's only a to-do list. It's nothing new. It's nothing dramatic, this. But if you imagine it, if you spend 15 minutes working towards your goal every single day, or we kind of get overwhelmed because there's 50 things I need to do and I'll never get there, just do 3 a day. Write them down every day. Take 3 small steps, and 3 more small steps, and 3 more small steps. And you never know. My life opened up because it kind of took me in a million directions that I didn't expect. So summarize, and then I'll kind of get into some ideas I want to share with you. More ideas. Me morning, meditation, goals, think about your goal, visualize your goal, gratitude and movement. And then just as a practical step, action steps towards your goal. So that is kind of the introduction into the habits we're going to layer. And I want to move for the second part of this session to just teach you some concepts about how the mind works, because as we move through the next 5.5 weeks or so, I'm going to build on some ideas that require you to have like a foundational level awareness of how the mind operates and how you're programmed. So before I shift and put some slides up, let's just see if anyone had any questions or comments so far. Okay, let's move on then. I'm going to put some slides up now for do a little time check. Oh, we're good for time. Okay. Right. So this is what we're getting into in this session. I'm going to talk. I've already talked about with which we're making 3 decisions at any point in time, all the time in our day, and ultimately what we're choosing is our thoughts, because what we choose to think about, as I said last week, kind of becomes reality in our life. Where we focus our attention, that's what shows up. That's where our energy goes. That's what we're feeding. And then the second thing is about attitude. And I'm going to talk to you about attitude being kind of the absolute foundation for almost everything. And you'll see why. And then we'll summarize the habits we've just shared as well. Okay. Okay, so what you're looking at on the slide, right, is we talked about beliefs last week, didn't we? You know, the fact that, you know, we are each programmed with a set of ideas, truths that we inherited, some of which in our genes, some we inherited from family, from teacher, whatever we saw on repeat, whatever we saw as a child up to the age of about 7, you know, that we kind of then inherited a bunch of truths, like beliefs, that then they get locked into the subconscious part of our mind, and then they really control everything we think and everything we do, almost everything we think and do. And actually the programming continues till the age of about 35. So the bulk of it is between the ages of 0 and 7. But between the age 7 and 35, you know, we're continuing to internalize ideas over and over again. We kind of take over that. So we then start giving ourselves these labels. We decide who we're not. We decide who we are. We decide what we're capable of, what we're not capable of. And then that kind of gets very, very fixed. And by the age of about 35, unless you get access to this kind of thinking and the system to kind of make a change to these beliefs, you can kind of predict your life year after year. There won't be any real transformational change. It'll be pretty much same year after year after year. So on this slide, just let these lines represent frequencies. Think of it like radio frequencies. You know, if you want to tune into radio 1, you can't tune the station to radio 2 and expect to get radio 1, right? They're different frequencies. And we think on frequencies. So just for now, think about these lines as frequencies. And let's say your current results are here. This is you today with whatever you've got in your life. And you've got a goal, which is up here, right? It's on a different frequency. So the goal is significantly different from where you are right now. So why is it not just a case then of saying, I'm here, I want to go there, I'm just going to put one step in front of the other and move in the direction of that goal? Why is it not as simple as that? Well, if you imagine let's say you've got a business idea, or let's say you want to multiply your sales by like 20-fold, you want to double them, quadruple them, you've just got a big goal, which is dramatically different from where you are right now. Well, why can't we just walk in the direction and say, that's the goal, I'm going to go for it? Because our level of thinking is on a different frequency to the goal. So what happens is the beliefs that we're holding on to, these truths, it'll show up as, who do you think you are to earn that much? You're not capable of that. You've never done that before. That success is for other people. That's not for me. This voice that you hear, we all have it. That's your beliefs talking to you, because your beliefs and your thinking are on a frequency that is in harmony with where you are today. You don't have an awareness beyond where you are today. You don't have that awareness yet. So when we say, why can't we just move in that direction? It's because we've never done it before. So you can see why it's feasible that you could go incremental, and like step towards it. But typically you move back in the direction of your current results because we don't shift our thinking. So if you imagine a millionaire, let's say your goal is to earn £1 million a year, and today you earn 50,000 a year. your beliefs, all the things that you hold true about who you are, what's possible for you, how you see the world, your filter, everything you think, the way you think, the ideas you have, they're all in harmony with 50,000 a year. They're not in harmony with 1,000,000. So this is why when we say we want this thing, we don't know how to get there, and we can't get there because our thinking is on the wrong frequency. So what this is all about, this is you're starting to learn the ideas of how to get your thinking on the frequency of the thing that you want. And it's about thinking from the goal, not to the goal. So when I ask you to think about your goal in the present tense, this is why. Because you've got to get your mind, you'd be saying, okay, what are the thoughts of a millionaire? What is a millionaire? How does a millionaire see the world? What's their confidence like? How do they shake hands with people? You know, what's their self-esteem? What ideas does a millionaire have versus somebody earning 50? You see the difference. And when you get but the exciting thing about this is when you understand this and you have the system to look at the beliefs that are actually keeping you locked in on this frequency where you don't want to be, we get the beliefs, the thinking, and the ideas on the frequency of the goal. And then the goal shows up, and then you move towards the goal in a quantum leap, not in an incremental step-by-step fashion. So just think about that. And if there's any questions on this, because I know I'm often like throw some stuff at you and I like hit you with it. And it might be, you know, you might think, well, I get it, I don't get it, or it doesn't resonate, or it does. But let me know if there's questions. So let's build on this. So this is a foundational idea to share with you about how the mind works. And this kind of helps to lock in some of this stuff that we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. So largely we talk about two parts of the mind, right? There's a conscious part of the mind and the subconscious part of the mind. Now, the conscious part of the mind, that's what makes us an amazing human being, right? Animals don't have this ability. We've got this amazing ability to consciously think. You can choose to think anything you want. You can choose to create an idea. You've got an imagination. You've got an amazing conscious thinking mind. It's an educated mind. This is where everything you've ever read, everything you've ever studied gets stored in the intellect. This is your intellectual mind. And this is where you've got your ability to choose thoughts. You get to choose what you think. You get to choose what you focus on. And the conscious mind can accept or reject an idea. It can say, no, thank you, I don't accept that. Or it can say, I do accept that. And it's got a sense of humor. The subconscious mind has none of that. It's the emotional mind. And it get this, it cannot accept or reject an idea. It has to take whatever's impressed on the subconscious mind is accepted as real. It doesn't have a filter, and it can't determine what's real or what's imagined. So when I talk about these beliefs that you inherited, were given, accepted as a child, it's because this filter, you know, with kids, like they're like little puppies, right? They don't have this filter. Their conscious mind isn't fully formed, so their subconscious mind's wide open. So anything they hear just goes in, because it doesn't have a filter. The subconscious mind can't go, I don't believe Santa comes down the chimney. It goes, Santa comes down the chimney. Okay, thank you. And it accepts it as real, and then it gets locked in. So there'll be things in there to do with, you know, I don't know, whatever your family, like you'll probably be able to smile when you start to analyze your own and realize they're just beliefs. Like, I don't know, money doesn't make you happy. It's better to be safe than sorry. Avoid risk at all costs. Education is important. Education's a waste of time. You know, different ideas that you've been programmed to accept. So the exciting thing about this is when you understand this, you realize that these ideas in the subconscious mind that have been put there can be replaced because they're just ideas. They're just opinions and choices that we're choosing to buy into as absolute truths. But when we actually stop and just take a step back and take a look at them, we go, really? They're only true if I choose to believe them. You know, money doesn't make people greedy. Money doesn't make people unhappy unless I choose to believe that that's the case. So you can get a system to start to think, well, what are the ideas that are locked, that I'm holding on to as truths that are going to stop me from getting the thing that I want, that are going to stop me from getting this goal that I'm going after. And this is the really interesting part. So this part of our mind, the subconscious part of our mind, it's responsible for nearly all of our thoughts, feeling, and action. So the part of our mind that's the subconscious part controls 96 to 98% of everything you think, feel, and do, meaning that's your automatic. So for most of what you do and think every day, you're not consciously choosing. We think we are, but it's not the conscious part of our mind that's responsible for what we do. It's the ideas in the paradigm, it's in the emotional mind, these beliefs that make up the paradigm that control what we actually do. I use a real silly example when I explain this because it resonates with me, so let me see if it does. To demonstrate the fact that the subconscious mind is in control of what we do, not the conscious part of our mind. So have you ever had a food or a drink that you ate or drank for many, many years, and then all of a sudden you were really sick with it? You know, you vomited for 48 hours and you felt horrendous, and all you could taste and smell was this thing that you ate or drank. You know, some people say yes, tequila and things like that. For me, it was Ribena, blackcurrant. And honestly, every time I tell this story, I can feel the nausea that I felt. I was like 10 years old, drank blackcurrant, and I had a sickness bug the next day, and that's all I could taste and smell. So whenever the kids have blackcurrant, even the idea of it, the smell of it, that just talking about it now, the feelings come back. You must know what this feels like if you've probably had this yourself. And then now, like how long, 30, 40 years later, consciously, could I drink Ribena, and do I consciously know it's not going to make me sick? Yeah, I know that. But will I drink the Ribena? No, because it's the emotional part of my mind that controls my behavior, not the conscious part of my mind. So you can probably think of examples like that in your own life, because this paradigm is just a set of ideas. So you have a set of ideas. These are the truths that we bought into. And those ideas come together and they become habits, habitual thought patterns, and habitual ways of behaving. So most of the things that we're reacting to, you know, the meaning we give things, remember we get to choose the meaning, most of it's happening automatically. Most of it we're not pausing and consciously choosing. By definition of being involved in this particular 6 weeks, for this period of time at least, you will definitely have more conscious awareness over your thinking and you will be more in control of it. But more often than not, and this is like I said last week, we need this automatic because it's what helps us get through the day. We'd have to, if we didn't have this automatic program that helped us run our habitual behavior, we'd have to relearn how to brush our teeth every day. We'd have to relearn how to tie our shoelaces. We need it. But where we don't need it, it's also controlling our results. It's also controlling our behavior. So the key thing to take from all of this is just to look into the idea that if you want to change your results, it's not the knowledge that you need to acquire in your conscious part of your mind. It's the ideas and truths in the paradigm that need to be changed. But when you do that, you can change any result, because that's the only thing between you and the person living the life that you want or the results that you want. Because I use money. I hate using money because people have ickiness about money, but there are millionaires in the world, lots of millionaires in the world. So we know it's possible to earn $1 million, right? But why, for some strange reason, do most of us think it's not a possibility for us? It's possible. There's not really any difference. It's not the intellect for more. You look at lots of people who are really, really successful and they don't have any kind of qualification. It's what we do that gets results. It's not what we know intellectually. You know, you can get knowledge anywhere. So just lock into that idea. And really for me, when I saw this, I started to get excited. I'm like, there's no limitation. The only limitations that we've got are the ones we're placing on ourselves based on the ideas in this paradigm. And taking this concept a little step further then, when I said to you at the start, we can always choose what we focus on, the meaning we give to something and what we do. So when something is presented to you, I'm going to say something. I like to call it energy, power. It's an idea. Let's say something is presented to you from the news, and you go, right, I'm going to decide. I'm going to get when it's presented. That thing is neutral. It just is. It's not positive. It's not negative. It just is. So you decide. You say, I'm going to give this energy. And you give it energy by the images and the thoughts that you attach to it with your conscious mind, because that's your ability as a human being. You can do that. So this thing's presented to you, this power is always flowing to you. And you say, well, I'm going to give it positive energy, I'm going to give it negative energy. And then you internalize that idea and it creates how you feel. And whatever you've internalized dictates what you do. But as human beings, we forget we've got a choice. We think that whatever we hear, we just have to internalize and absorb it. What you learn and hear is actually no. Everything has always got an opposite. If there's good, there's bad. If there's up, there's down. So whatever, if something does look obviously bad to you, you can form the habit of saying, actually, I might want to choose to internalize something different, or just reject the idea altogether, because that's what you've got with the power of your conscious part of your mind. And whatever we repeatedly impress is what dictates the feeling and the behavior and the results. So when I'm asking you every day to focus on a goal, to focus on your vision of that goal, I'm asking you to think of an idea that's really positive, connect to the feeling of that idea, and you're going to start to behave in accordance with the idea. And as we build in the next week or so, I'm going to introduce affirmations, which is another way of doing this as well. So idea, affirming what it is you want to feel and do, and the results you get. And finally, for this part of the kind of theory, if you like, this is what I said at the start. We've got control over these things. So effectively, all you're doing at every moment of every day is choosing your attitude. You're choosing your thoughts, you're choosing your feelings, and you're choosing your actions. And all three make up your attitude. Because let me ask you this, right? Can you read somebody's mood? Can you go in a room and you know those mood hoovers? You go in and they've sucked the energy out the room. You know they're in a bad mood. They might not have said anything, but they're communicating it through their energy. You can't you? Equally, somebody who's like always the life and soul will light up a room. They come in and like you feel the energy change. Or you go in a pub and you go, it's got a good atmosphere. It's energy. So you're always communicating. It's not just what you say. So it starts with your thoughts, and your thoughts and your feelings and your actions together are your attitude. So you can start to say to yourself, I'm going to choose my attitude deliberately. What am I thinking? As a result of this thinking, what am I feeling? And as a result of this feeling, what am I going to do? This is something you can really lock into. And if you kind of took one thing to write down, just write this down and then ask yourself before you go into any situation. It could be with your kids, it could be at work, with business. What am I thinking about this thing? What am I feeling about this thing? And what am I going to do about this thing? Because once you've analyzed it, you can choose again. You can say, well, actually, I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose to think a different thing. And then that's going to generate a different feeling, a different vibration, and it's going to create a different behavior. So this will be in the Facebook group then. As we looked at beliefs and paradigms, and we get what we focus on becomes our feeling, becomes our results. This has given you more of the reasons to implement these habits. So I'm going to suggest you get up even a little bit earlier if you want to, maybe 30 minutes earlier, to give yourself a bit more time, and practice these exercises: still the meditation, the journaling and the visualization, the gratitude, and movement/exercise. Okay, let me do a time check, because that wraps up what I had to say. And actually, we're doing good for time today. So let me just get this recording stopped, and we can have a discussion or answer any questions, and I'll have a look at the chat.